Hi, Julie Jones from SSB Performance, Smarter, Stronger, Better Mindset Training, here with this week's Mindset Made Simple Tip of the Week, brought to you by Game Day Sportswear. We're back, finally, and this week we're talking about finish where your feet are. This is the time of the year where we can start to drift to all kinds of places. We're getting to the end of the semester if you're in academia. We are getting to the end of the regular season if you're a spring sport. And we start to look ahead to tournaments. I've got 3 teams right now that are killing it, ranked in the top 25 of their respective divisions. And we start to talk and hear all this talk about you're going to do this and this is what's coming. Coaches start to get out their little notebooks. I know we had one that had, if this team does this and this team does this, here's what's going to happen in the tournament. If these are going to be the seedings. That's where we are. And that's great because it's exciting at the end of the season, right? We've been grinding and it's coming to a close. Summertime is right on the precipice. We're there. We can't hardly wait, or at least I can't wait to get to the pool and to get to the beach and all the different things that we do. We've been grinding for months. There's excitement ahead. There's relief from a tired body that's held together with physio tape. And that's all okay. But here's the problem. We can't finish strong when we're somewhere else. We cannot finish strong when we're somewhere else. When our mind drifts forward, when our mind drifts anywhere, our performance starts to slip. And I don't know if you've noticed, but I haven't done one of these for 81 days, to be exact. And during those 81 days, a lot has gone on. And I've learned a lot of lessons. The reason I didn't write for all that time or record for all that time was because I was in the process of losing my father. And as we went through this, I was trying to manage what was to come. I was looking ahead. And then after a while, I started looking behind. And then I started looking behind and ahead at a different life, as a different person in different circumstances. And all of that is part of who we are as human beings. But the problem is that when we are in all these different places, we are not here. We're not where our cleats are. Losing my dad taught me a lot, and one of the biggest things that it taught me was that when we're somewhere else, we're a little lot less locked in. We're a little less intentional, and we're a little less sharp. And those are the things that we need to be at the end of the season. Intentional, sharp, totally locked in. Not getting outside of our headlights and looking too far ahead, and definitely not looking in a rearview mirror and only thinking about what has happened, but being able to be present. Strong finishes don't happen by accident. They happen through presence. They happen through being where our feet are. And that's what we're going to talk about today, tools to help us with that. So how do we fight this drift? It pulls us. We're constantly being pulled to the future. Our mind wanders 47% of the time. If you can imagine if it was 75% of the time, teachers would not want to be one of those, or a coach for that matter. But here's tool number 1. Win the rep. Win the rep. You say, okay, well, how do I win the rep when I don't control outcomes? Well, winning the rep doesn't mean that we win every single pitch or we win every single opportunity. What it means is that we can manage what we can in that moment and focus on what's ahead of us. This rep, this pitch, this possession, whatever the situation is. Pressure shrinks when things get smaller. When we start to look at everything in totality, it gets really overwhelming. I learned that very, very, very dramatically over the past few months. When you start to look too far ahead and you think of all the things that are going to change, or even all the things that you have to do, life gets big and you feel really small. So figuring out how to manage that. We control winning, or we win, I should say, even when we don't control winning, by doing this. We choose what we're going to do. We trust that what we're going to do is going to work. We commit to it, and then we accept the result. I was just talking to a coach about this yesterday, that we think that is the maturity of sport, is being able to accept the result, the fact that strikeouts are going to happen. You're going to miss goals and shots and everything else that you do. You're going to blow some part of your presentation. This is just the part of the deal, because mistakes happen. I do an exercise with teams when I'm in person with them where I tell them that this is what's going to happen. The ball is going to fall off of the apparatus that we're using. It is going to happen. The question is, what are we going to do next? We can't control everything, but if we can choose, trust, commit, and then accept the results, that allows us to say, hey, I did everything I could in this situation. It is what it is. What's next? And then we go. The second thing that we can do is we can name the drift. We've talked about this many times. Hey, I'm thinking about going on vacation. Oh my gosh, how many times, coaches, have you heard your athletes, as you're trying to win a tournament or get to the tournament or whatever it is, them talking about, hey, I can't wait to go on vacation with my mom and dad, or I can't wait for this. It's like, oh my gosh, let's just stay here. We have one more week. But that's the drift that happens. And we know if we're thinking about those kinds of things, we're not thinking about the preparation we need, the sleep we need, and all the things that make us better as performers. But I'm thinking about the tournament. I'm thinking about vacation. Once we name it, we can tame it, if you will. We can reset and say, hey, we're not there yet. Let's do this now. And then that is the reward. Here's a silly little example of that. When I ran at Cleveland State on a daily basis, just as an exercise with my little group, I could not wait to get back to the Wolstein Center for a Diet Pepsi that came out of this machine that made it so cold. I don't know. I don't drink pop at all anymore, but that was my reward. So maybe we get kids to think, okay, let's do this now, and just think about how relaxing and awesome that's going to be. And yeah, it's good. That's good for us. In fact, sometimes we get more out of thinking about our vacation than we actually get out of vacation because of the dopamine that it throws to our brain when we're like, oh, we're anticipating. But let's anticipate, but focus and be present when we need to perform and practice and prepare. It's not bad that you're going on vacation. It's not bad that you want to go to the tournament, but we need to name it and say, oh, not right now. We'll think about that later. The third thing is that we need to reset with our body. We know that we can bring our mind back to where it needs to be sometimes faster with our body than with our mind. So what do we need to do? This was huge for me as a coach. My last year at Cleveland State, we were pretty good, and I loved watching the team play. We get to the sixth inning, and I'm like, oh my gosh, we are going to win 40 games. We're going to win 40 games. We're going to go back to the tournament. This is awesome. And sure as heck, as soon as I started to do that, my focus was gone. I'm looking ahead to something that is, months away or weeks away or days away, whatever it was. It wasn't the game that was going on. And as I lose focus, people around me start to lose focus. And guess what happens when people around me start to lose focus? The game doesn't go as well. And you know what can happen in 6 innings? You can get your butt kicked. So every single time I started to think that way, I had a physical reset. I'd pinch the side of my legs, I'd say, do your job, and try to pull myself back and say, we're not going to win 40 games if we don't execute in this pitch. It's not going to happen. I've got to take care of this. We'll worry about that when it's all said and done. Those kinds of things make a huge difference. And again, sometimes we need a physical reset. We need to do something. My Katie Scott, my professional soccer player, she fixes her shin guards and she next play. Next play. Whatever it is, obviously there's a mental part of this, but something physical that says, hey, body, come back. Physiological side, whatever it is, changing your vision. But we've got to get back to present. And the faster we can do that, the more apt we are to be able to win what's in front of us. Back to the first suggestion that I had. Finally, I think this is something that maybe I learned over the past few months, is that when we start to think that everything is on like overdrive and everything's moving so fast, stay a little longer. Stay a little bit longer than feels normal. We are rushing from reel to reel, from text to text, from email to email, from rep to rep, trying to get all kinds of things done, when sometimes we just need to stay a little longer. Finish the drill. How many times have we rushed from one thing to the next and not really focused on that last rep? Finish the drill. Finish the conversation. Finish the moment, whatever that is. Stay in it until it feels almost uncomfortable. Not that we have all kinds of time, I'm not saying that, but we are such rushers from one thing to the next. We're thinking about what is next, and this is me big time. I need all 4 of these resets or tools and shifts every single day. And while we're finishing, we have to make sure that we're really there, watching the ball finish, listening and watching the person in front of you and making sure you're hearing and not listening to respond, but listening to understand, whatever that is. Make sure that we are really there. In this race to the top, we're constantly rushing to what's next. Being where our feet are just a few seconds longer and teaching ourselves to stay there, even if it's in uncomfortable silence, that can help us be present. And presence is everything. We're going to talk a lot about presence over the next month. Every single team in the country says they want to finish strong. And in the meantime, they're thinking about vacation. In the meantime, they're thinking about this or that or the other. But not every team is willing to stay in it for the long run. Really in it, focused, together, connected, able to notice when they're not where they need to be, and then regroup and move on together. The teams that do, the teams that are where their feet are going to be more successful, one way or the other. Because we don't control winning, but we can control what goes in to the process. And that is our job. That's how we close gaps. That's how we climb mountains. That's how we get over the hump. That's how we get to the goal that we have set way back in August or whenever the goal was set. That's how we build momentum. That's how we finish the race the right way. So, win the rep, name the drift, reset with your body, and stay just a little longer. And if we can do those things, that can help us stay where we need to be to do what we need to do. So let's try it. I need this just as much as anybody else. Presence makes a difference because when we're present, we can perform at our best. It's great to be back. I've missed doing these each week. I hope that they are useful to you. They are certainly useful to me, probably more useful to me than they are to you. But I look forward to seeing you again next week. And if you have any comments or ideas that you would like to discuss or something that maybe I can learn, please reach out, JulieJ at ssbperformance.com. I'd love to hear from you. And in the meantime, have a great week.